Karen's relentless attempts to harass and manipulate had now reached a peak that few could have anticipated. This time, she decided to rat me out at my cabin, hoping to cause legal trouble, shame, or disruption. But she had no idea that she was stepping into a trap she could never escape. It was late afternoon when the alert came through my security system. Karen had been spotted near the cabin perimeter, approaching the gate with her usual entourage. Cameras showed her moving deliberately, clipboard in hand, clearly intending to document some imagined violation and report it to authorities. She had convinced herself that this time she would succeed. I immediately contacted the sheriff's office and provided live feeds from the cameras. My dogs, trained for rapid response defense and perimeter security, took positions at key points around the property. Every approach route Karen could take was monitored, ensuring that her presence would be documented and neutralized. When I arrived at the cabin, Karen was already at the gate, gesturing angrily and muttering complaints about supposed infractions. "You can't block access. You're hiding something. This is illegal," she shouted, clearly expecting fear and compliance in return. I stepped forward calmly, positioning myself in clear view. "Karen, this is private property. You are trespassing. Any attempt to report or interfere will be documented, and law enforcement is already aware of your presence. Step back immediately." Karen's face twitched with frustration. She had clearly underestimated my preparation. But instead of retreating, she tried one of her classic bluffs, insisting that I was violating rules, blocking access, and attempting to hide something nefarious. Her voice rose, her gestures became more frantic, and she seemed convinced that sheer audacity would intimidate me. That was when the first deputies arrived. They quickly assessed the scene, reviewing the live camera footage, which showed Karen's approach, her false claims, and her attempts to trespass. Her expression faltered as she realized that the authorities were aware of her actions in real time. The deputies approached, their presence commanding and authoritative. "Ma'am," one said firmly, "you are trespassing on private property. Any further attempts to interfere with or report alleged violations here will be considered harassment and could lead to criminal charges. Step back immediately." Karen faltered, unable to maintain her usual bravado. Her assistants looked around nervously, clearly realizing that the situation had spiraled out of control. My dogs maintained their positions, growling low in warning, reinforcing the authority of the property owner without any physical confrontation. I calmly documented every interaction, ensuring that each moment was captured on video. Karen's futile attempts to intimidate or manipulate were fully recorded, providing irrefutable evidence of her repeated harassment. By the time she finally retreated, her face pale and her confidence shattered, the deputies confirmed that the cabin and property were secure. Karen had been thwarted not through force or aggression but through preparation, legal authority, and careful planning. Neighbors who had watched discreetly from a distance began to whisper about the encounter, noting Karen's repeated overreach and audacity. Her reputation within the community suffered yet another blow, as it became clear that her tactics were reckless, illegal, and easily countered. That evening, as I walked the perimeter of the cabin and observed my dogs patrolling, I reflected on the event. Karen had attempted to manipulate, intimidate, and rat me out, expecting that fear would bend reality to her will. She had miscalculated spectacularly. The property remained untouched, secure, and fully under my control. Karen's repeated failures had been documented in detail, ensuring that any future attempts on her part could be met with immediate legal recourse. The lesson was undeniable. Recklessness, audacity, and false authority cannot overcome preparation, vigilance, and lawful strategy. Karen had stepped into a trap she could not escape, and the result was humiliation, failure, and complete exposure. By nightfall, the cabin was safe, my property secure, and Karen's reputation further eroded. Her schemes had once again been neutralized through calm authority, foresight, and careful planning, proving that true power lies not in threats and audacity, but in preparation, legality, and control.